The following program is an MLWRadio.com production.
Matt!
Media Productions. You remembered them fondly, and then they were gone. And now you want to know who, what, where, when, why. Why It Ended with Robbie E. and Matt Koon.
All right, so guys, we're here. It's hashtag Why It Ended Wednesday, and I know my co-host right now is cringing at the way I start the show because he hates it whether I say hey guys or yo guys or so. He's always got something to say about the way I start the show. Matt, why is that?
Because it's just so cringy. I don't have another word for it.
Well, you know what? Here's a good segue. You know what isn't cringy?
What's not cringy, Robbie?
Our awesome episode that we had last week. Who was our guest?
Our guest, do you remember who our guest was? Do you remember?
Of course. I'm asking you if you remember.
Well, we had Kevin Sullivan, and then Kevin Sullivan worked his black magic on my computer, and his complete interview erased itself. But luckily for us, and by the way, we are going to have Kevin Sullivan back soon. But luckily for us, our good friend, Frank Paris, we did a great interview with him, and people really, really liked it. Yeah,
I think it was cool. I think most people, I probably would have, read it and was like, who the hell is Air Paris? And it turned into, oh, that's Air Paris. That's a pretty dope story. So I think it was pretty cool, and I'm kind of glad everything happened the way it did. And
he was one guy when you and I first started kicking the show around that I was like, dude, we should get Air Paris. Like, that was one of those kind of names of people that, had a short run who disappeared, and super nice guy. He has moved on in his life. He has an awesome story. If you haven't checked it out now, don't sleep on it. Go check on it now. And of course, you can listen at WhyItEnded.com or on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. And Robbie, what else are you up to these days?
Well, I got a lot going on. The Robert Strauss brand, you know me. I'm a hustler. I've got my hands dipped in a million things, but I'm wrestling in and out of the country every weekend. But it's not for a few months. But October 13th is Overdrive Pro Wrestling, and they're based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And I just talked to the promoter today, and he told me that he sees something in me that no one else has ever seen before. I don't know what it is yet, but he sees something. So I just want to say I trust that guy. And they're a great promotion, again, based out of Nashville. And you should follow them on Twitter at Overdrive Pro TN and on Instagram at Overdrive Pro TN. And then, of course, Overdrive Pro TN is their Facebook. So check them out.
Isn't this the guy who gives you a bunch of monsters to wrestle all the time?
Yeah, he's that guy. But, he sees something in me. He thinks I could beat them.
Well, good for him. And if you want to see what monster Robbie has next, check out OverdriveProWrestling.com. Of course, we love all wrestling here. And coming up next, we have an interview with somebody who's been making a lot of waves and might even be the comeback wrestler of the year in 2018, PCO.
And I am looking forward to talking to this guy because I remember watching him when I was a little kid, and now I'm still watching him as I'm an adult. And how does that happen?
He's doing so much crazy shit now. It's a lot of this kind of social media stuff that the guys in All In are good at, and a lot of people are good at now. And he's really working it. I think the last film I saw of him was that I believe he's powered by a car battery. Have you seen any of these crazy videos he's been making?
Well, I just checked him out after we were having him on to learn a little bit more. And yeah, dude's insane. Can't wait to see how insane today's episode is.
And he's got a crazy story, so check it out on Why It Ended right after this.
Stop using your hand.com.
Now, of course, you know by now about our great sponsor, Pleasure Products USA. They are a huge supporter of Why It Ended and also your online destination for innovative quality and affordable items geared towards men's sexual pleasure. As you know, or you probably should know, their signature product is the 3V Starlet Stroker. That's right, the 3V Starlet Stroker. It has an amazing, realistic internal texture, multiple vibration settings, and for the finishing maneuver, an actual voice of an adult film star is recorded to the device to make more than the crowd pop. Now, if you're not sure about all this, this is all very new to everybody. Now, if you're not sure about all this, if you're not sure about this, and this is all new to you, check this out. You can try a free, that's right, a free stroker. All you have to do is just pay the shipping and handling of $6.95. For just $6.95 shipping and handling, you can get a free stroker. All you gotta do is go to pleasureproductsusa.com/product/Josephine. That's Josephine, and enter the coupon code FISTBUMP. So whether you're gonna get the 3D Scarlet Stroker, or you just wanna try out, or you just want to dip your toe in the water, so to speak, with this free stroker for only $6.95 shipping and handling, make sure to check out our good friends at StopUsingYourHand.com. Now remember, to get that free stroker, go to pleasureproductsusa.com/product/Josephine, and the coupon code is FISTBUMP. That's pretty funny. But you know what's not funny? Pleasure Products USA, StopUsingYourHand.com. Today. The Sellers Law Firm, LLC, is a law firm focusing on family law and criminal defense, while still providing a wide range of general legal services, from adoptions, child support, custody, divorce, and legitimation to DUI, traffic tickets, misdemeanors, and felonies. The Sellers Law Firm is here to help you.
As a proud member of the Griffin Downtown Council and several legal organizations, the Sellers Law Firm strives to serve the local...
You were on a roll.
Hold on.
You were on a roll, man.
I don't know what any of these words mean. So hold on. As a proud member of the Griffin Downtown Council and several legal organizations, the Sellers Law Firm strives to serve the local community while expanding its services throughout the state of Georgia.
Of course, if they can ever be of service, please let Judy, Bobby, or Jody know. That's what family is for.
Whether you find yourself in need of a lawyer now or whether you just want to ask a few questions, give them a call at 770-415-9848 at the Sellers Law Firm, where clients become family.
And you never know when you're going to need law services, so go ahead and follow Jody Sellers at Sellers Law Firm, SELLERS Law Firm. And they're also a sponsor of wrestling. Is that right, Robbie?
Yep, UCW Hometown Throwdown and Summerfest. They're sponsoring August 11th in Barnesville, Georgia.
Sellers Law Firm, LLC, where clients become family. So joining us right now, guys, you know him now as PCO, but you also knew him as Pierre of the Quebecers and X and a bunch of other stuff. Please join us in welcoming PCO. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, very good, Matt and Robbie here.
Yeah, man, thanks for doing this. Hey, you probably don't remember this. This was years ago. Before I started wrestling for Impact Wrestling full-time, I did a lot of extra work for WWE when I was younger, and I was an extra at Monday Night Raw, and you were there making a return. We actually met then. You wrestled Charlie Haas. Do you remember that night?
Yeah, I remember exactly. It was in 2008 at Mohegan Sun Arena, Connecticut.
Yep, that was the first and maybe the only time I ever met you. And it's funny because I remember you came back. You know, I was super new in wrestling at the time, and you were super intimidating and stuff. But you were the nicest guy. But when you came back, I asked you. You were laughing, and I asked you how the match went, and you said you made a joke. I can't remember exactly what you said, but basically something implying that you didn't think that he liked it very much or something, and then you started laughing.
Yeah, it was pretty much pretty. I wouldn't say pretty bad, but it was pretty not what they wanted me to do. It was going against the tide, going against the wave, going against what at the time, they wanted everybody still today.
Yeah, well, going back in time now, how did you originally fall in love with pro wrestling?
Oh, man, I mean, every morning, from Canada, you always play hockey early in the morning, practicing or having a game or something like that. So you're always up early in the morning, you're waiting for your ride, and you watch on TV and wrestling comes on, and you just fall in love with the sport. It's like second nature. For me, always before it wasn't as much as as a show as it was today. I mean, it was as much show, but it was not as much lights or lights for me. Like it was dark, and you had like one light over the ring, basically, and you could see like the smoke, in the air and things like that. A little bit like in the old Rocky movie, and that type of ring with the audience around and having that light, put on two guys. I don't know. It really got me. It really got me, and the TV too, with the voiceovers, the commentary, and all that. I was all into all that, and I knew at a very young age, probably 10, 11, 12, how everything worked without.
And when you were that young, you knew it was something you actually wanted to do for a living?
Yeah, 13, 14, like when my parents asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always say like WWE pro wrestler, WWF pro wrestler. And then they thought, oh, that's cool. And my dad would come to me to some wrestling shows because I'd ask him to come with me, and he would say, look at him, he's walking with it like a garbage bag with his clothes on, he's poor, he's broke. I said, well, yeah, but you're only looking at the guys that are on the bottom of the card. Look at the guys working on the top of the cards. They got limousine, they got Cadillacs, they got money. So we're always like got into some argues with my dad about the sports, but he never really tried to hold me back.
Well, you definitely dove head in to get started. You got trained by one of the greatest Canadian wrestlers of all time, Gino Brito. And how did you come to find the training? How did you come to get trained by him? And what was that experience like for you?
Well, I didn't get trained by Gino itself, but I got trained where Gino got trained. So it was like there was some facilities down in Montreal where all the great names, the Pat Pattersons, the Rougeaus, the Dino Bravo, the Burritos, like everybody that was big in Montreal started there. And I found out about that just maybe 10 years ago. When I got hired from WWE, I was trying to hide where I was getting trained because I thought nobody would knew it. But actually, everybody got trained there, so it's kind of funny.
So then from there, after getting trained, you're doing these like little tours and stuff. How long did it take for you like doing those tours and making a name for yourself before you got to WWF?
About 8 years. From out of Vans to Puerto Rico, and then on, I was on my own. I did also wing for Japan. And I did some tag there, but just because they put us together, I was with Bill the Crash, with Bash, and we were Terminators, and we did about like a week and a half tour for wing for Victor Quinones, and then got back to the Puerto Rico for WWC, World Wrestling Council, the Colons and the Gonzalez and the Joicas, and Jacques came in for some TV tapings, and he didn't know me. I knew him only from TV. Started to talk together and watch a couple of my match, and I guess he had made his mind that he needed a tag team partner because Ray had just decided to quit. He was already a millionaire. So called Vince right on the spot. Vince right through the line, through the secretary. Had that power at the time, to speak to Vince whenever he wanted to. And then Surgeon Slaughter got in touch with me. They wanted to do some tapes, so I sent some tapes, and they called me up from some tryouts. I went there, did like 2 tryouts in the Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina, I think Charlotte, and another town. Worked Jim Powers twice, 2 nights in a row. Just a good, solid match, but nothing that I could really call. It was pretty much all Jimmy's match. But 2-3 months after we got hired, and we became WWF Tag Team Champions.
And you became champs by beating the Steiner brothers. And, of course, a lot of people forget about that Steiner brothers WWF run. What was it like wrestling those two guys in the height of their career, and with you and Jacques really working this gimmick?
Well, we had, I thought we had fun. I mean, we had great matches, but I just felt like that's just my personal feelings. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I mean, I was in Texas last night, and Saturday night, and I was on the same show with Scott, and I always got along good with him. But it just felt to me like they didn't want to put us over like 1, 2, 3 in the middle for the titles, and to me, I think it did hurt their career with Vince, and the fact that they didn't want to do like good business. So Vince went along and he did the Quebec rules match where we still got the belts, but by DQ, which kind of had heat to us, to our gimmick, which was like a coward, kind of chicken shit gimmick. But we had powerful moves, we had like really power moves, and we could work solid, and we could work dangerous. I mean, not dangerous for the other guy, but looking dangerous, and having a defense that the tag team was dangerous, that we could, beat any team, anytime, any night. So I don't know what was the whole thing with the Steiners, but we could feel that it was something that they didn't like. And they were big ribbers too, so they used to rib guys a lot. And so...
Hey, well, real quick at PCO. So after you were basically in WWF for only, would you say 2 weeks, you already were tag champs? So you're brand new, you're already the champions. Because you were like a new guy and you got such a good spot so quick, did any guys give you shit? Like, did you have any problems with anyone in the locker room because of that?
Not giving me shit, but you could feel the jealousy. The little like, hey champ, thanks for the house, all those little things, like just because, like I thought, in my own mind, they don't know that I've been starving for almost 10 years,
Yeah.
And I've been living on that I've been calling my moms to Western Union me some money almost every week of my life for the last 10 years. And that when I signed with WWE, I owed her like 20 grand at least, so sometimes it was rough because I was not making that much money, so I paid my dues. But to the boys, who've been there and waiting in line for a long time to get a break, you see a 24-year-old kid, 25-year-old kid, and he's just walked in June, and in September he's got the belts. So it put a lot of heat on myself, So, but I thought it was well deserved, not the heat, but the titles.
Hey, and you also had this style. You're a big guy, and you had this style of going off the top rope and doing a lot of things that big guys didn't do. Where did you get that kind of style from? Was that from your tours?
Yeah, well, when I started at 16, I was about, I was like a little bit like Kevin Steen when he started, like Kevin Owens, he was like 55 pounds, it was probably 165, 170. So I always wanted to be a high flyer, more than a power move guy. So the high flying was always a big part of my game. So when you gain weight, you're still capable of doing the same thing that you were doing when you were smaller. So that was one good thing about it. And I was always like pretty kind of agile, like at any time of my life, good hockey player, good football player, good baseball player. I was like I would almost make like all-star teams in every sports, like originally, like let's say they would pick up like the baseball team from all the teams from different cities, and they pick up the best players to make an all-star game. It was always like one of the guys who got picked up.
Hey, so eventually Jacques left, right? He left WWF. What was the reason that he left?
The whole thing when we signed is he told me I made $500,000 working my last run against the big boss man. So he said, I'm not going for less than $500,000 a year. So he said, if I can get that type of deal, that money, I will go back. But you won't make as much as I do because, you've been working for 8 years and I've been working for 25 years and I've been with Vince for that many years and, that's your first year. So you have to take in consideration all the work that I put in before you did. So I could never really complain about him making more money than I did, even though the work was equal. Around WrestleMania, we're supposed to have a big win in the middle against Men on a Mission at WrestleMania, and we got one of these in the afternoon. Hey guys, we got a good news and we got a bad news for you. So, it's too bad news when they say that. So
Right.
Okay, let's go with the good news. Well, the good news is you're gonna retain your titles, and what's the bad news? Well, you're not gonna have your strong run in the middle of the ring. It's gonna be a double cat out against Men on a Mission. So Jacques got pissed off. He goes, we're gonna do what they want. Even I'm gonna suggest we do the job, and we give our notice after WrestleMania. We give our notice, and we're going to WCW. And I said, Jacques, I've been working all my ass off for the last 10 years to get to WWE, and you want me to go to WCW? It took me 2.5 years just, to be friendly with Vince, just so he could say hi to me, and now you want me to restart the whole process somewhere else, which I'm not ready to do that. And I'm not a WCW guy, and I'm not an NWA guy, and I'm not an AWA guy. I'm really a WWF guy, That's all I wanted all my life since I was a kid, since watching Hulk Hogan on pay-per-view, on whatever. So I cannot do that. I'm not gonna quit, So he said, well, I got an idea. I said, Vince owes me money. He's about that $350,000 that he gave me so far, so he's short on his. He lied to me. He's supposed to give me $500,000, and he's really short on the money. So if he gives me $100,000 for the next 2 matches, which is gonna be a match where me and you are gonna set up, you're going to turn on me, and the following match where it's going to be the actual match, me versus you for my retirement match. And if I make 100G for those 2 matches, then I'll retire and then just do whatever you want to do. And that's going to be fine with me. I'll do something else in my life, with my life. So we went that route. So at WrestleMania 10, we went to double suplex Mabel, which we couldn't. So cause come on, Jacques, give him a shove, shoved me back. So we kind of worked, the separation from there. And then we lost the straps in Vermont against the Samoans, the head shrinkers. And then there we did like a fuck where, he's holding Samu, and I went for a big, headbutt or something, and Samu moved, so I headbutt Jacques, and one of us ended up being outside the ring, and we get the win. So that's on the can, everybody, everything's scanning now for the separation, for the Pierre versus Jacques, and then the show just prior to the big show in Montreal, the retirement match, it was against was for a title match against the Shrinkers, and I literally turned on Jacques big time with Johnny Polo, start putting the boot to him, and really turn against him, and then really turned heel, and we went on with the promos and everything, and we sold out the Montreal Forum. It was like a WrestleMania. We were working on top of Undertaker, Yokozuna, Jeff Jarrett, Razor Ramon, Bret and Owen Hart, every name of the companies, they were on that card, and we were working on top, and we really stole the show. And it was sold out, 18,500 people, and Jacques made all the money that Vince promised. I mean, made 50 G's for that night, and I think he made 25 G's for the other pre-night. So he was kind of close on his money, even if he was not like at 500,000, but he was real close. It was probably at 400 or 375 or 415. I don't really know because I didn't count his pays, so I don't know. But I think he was close, Anyway, he had a good paycheck, and right after that, it was a hockey strike, the baseball strike. So Jacques called back Vince and said, "Listen, Vince, no, we just sold out the forum now." We said we can do the same thing at the stadium because all the medias are on us. We're front pages, we're back pages, we're all over the radios, all over the TVs. Like we're gone, So Jacques was going to become my manager for. Me versus Bob Backlund for the World Heavyweight title, the WWF World Heavyweight title at the stadium. And so at first Vince went along with the program. He wanted to drop the strap on me for a couple of days. And then after a few weeks he changed his mind and he said, I just lost Randy Savage and we don't have what it takes to go to the stadium, and I'm not going to invest any money there. And Jacques told him, well, if I'm not going with you, Vince, I'm going to go with Hulk. So that was the end of the discussion. And Vince says, you might go with Hulk, but you can't go with Carl Ouellet because I own Carl Ouellet. So Jacques was trying to tell me that Vince was talking bad about me by saying he owns me, but I was kind of proud of that. The fact that he said I own Carl Ouellet, to me, it meant a lot to me, like in a way where, he's a good, talented guy and he's mine, So that didn't bother me at all.
So then Jacques went on, and you actually got packaged as a singles wrestler. They thought a lot of you. They changed your name to Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the Pirate. Who pitched the pirate idea to you, and was that something you liked?
I pitched a pirate idea myself because I got shot with a pellet gun when I was 12 years old, and I was just trying to make a positive out of a negative, and just trying to also maybe, kind of try to inspire like some of the light handicapped people or handicapped people. But I didn't want it to be Lafitte. I wanted it to be my name, and I didn't want it to be like something where I would steal things and it would be cartoonish a little bit. I wanted it to be like the first name that I threw was like the Swashbuckler, I think, or something like that. But it was something. Just wanted it to be something cool,
And then when you had this pirate gimmick, you feuded for a few months with Bret Hart, right? And you had like a pay-per-view match at In Your House 3.
Yeah, I had a feud with him for 2 months. Before they put me with him, like they gave me like 2 or 3 main events on different pay-per-view where it was a dark match, but the last match of the evening. So every time it was a good match, and they liked what they saw. So they and Bret too, I guess. So they asked him how he felt about me, and he said, "Yeah, that's all right." Some of the highlights of my career, earlier career, with the tag team championship, and as a single, they were like really highlights because I was chosen to be on the Bret Dungeon collection of all the best matches of his life, and
right.
Was really proud of that. I'm really happy about that. So, and Bret was real cool to me.
And at this point, with a 3-month feud with Bret Hart, being given this singles run, you probably had every reason to believe that at that time that your career was going in the right direction. That maybe one day you'd get the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I was targeting either the IC belt. Like my plan was pretty much the same as what Brett had, like, you know, the tag belts, the IC belt, and the world title belt. You know, that's what I wanted, like, to go slowly, you know, one step at a time, but, you know, just always work my way up, like Brett did. You know, Brett, like, was kind of a model to me to follow. If it would have been a world title, I would have taken it, of course. But if it would have been a run for the IC title, you know, that would have made sense with what I had envisioned, you know, for myself.
And at that time, obviously, around those years, the clique was very big in the locker room. Like, what was your relationship with Michaels, Hunter, Diesel, Razor?
Me and Hunter had a good relationship. Like, when he came from WCW, he was pretty much on him, you know, by himself, and helped him out a lot, you know, like giving good pointers, like some good pointers. I was really friendly with him. We traveled together for probably a couple of tours, like maybe two or three tours, like, you know, that we rented a car together and traveled together. So Hunter was never like unless he did it in my back, you know, but I never felt like any heat towards him or any sort of bad taste in his mouth about myself. Well, with Sean's like pretty obvious, but I was a little bit a factor of that because at one point, you know, Vince called me up and I was supposed to be off Montreal for a couple of years, and Vince was saying, like, you know, we're going to make some retention, you know, we're going to have the people who want you to work in Montreal, but we're not going to give it to them, you know, you're going to work everywhere else in the States, and people are going to say, well, we want to see Lafitte, we want to see him in Montreal, how come he's not coming, how come he's not coming, and after 2 or 3 years, going to give it to them. And I haven't started the character yet. I'm still at home, you know, growing my hair and my beard. He goes, oh, Carl, this is Vince on the phone. Oh, yeah, Vince, no problem. What can I do for you? He said, RRS just got injured, and I mean, I would like you to take his place at the semi-main event, you know, in Montreal, and toward the semi-main event against Sean, you know. So I was working Sean and kind of called Jacques, you know, saying, like, you know, they said I was going to start in February or March now, or I haven't even started my gimmick. Now they'll be asking me to do something, which knowing that today, I wouldn't really care, you know. But when you're 25, you know, really young in the business, I asked the wrong guy, you know, for an answer because he was probably pissed off as Vince anyway, and probably pissed off as me because I stayed there and you left. So he said, man, if you do a job for him, your career's over and you're fucked. I said, you sure? I mean, I'm not even starting my new character yet. No, but people in Montreal will remember, and that's going to screw your career forever. So I kind of pitched the idea to Sean that it wouldn't be too good if I lose against him. So I got pissed off. He went, you fucking crazy. 30 guys just put me over in the Royal Rumble. You don't fucking put me over here in the house in Montreal. And then I went, well, yeah, you're kind of right. So, no problem. I'm going to do it. But just that spark, you know, just saying that, it kind of created like a little, like something there, you know, even though if I went on I went on with the program and everything, and we had a good, solid match. That's the worst about it. I probably had one of my best matches ever. I mean, Sean, like, piece of cake to work with. I love to work with him. I had a great match. He beat me with the feet on the rope. Didn't have to. Cool to me. But the following year, I was like scheduled to work Nash for the world title in Montreal, and I don't know if they kind of ribbed me on that or whatever. But like, we're at TV tapings, I don't even know what's going on in 2 months. And Nash comes to me, and he goes, "Yeah, man," he said, "Montreal, November 15th, me and you, big boot jackknife, 1, 2, 3." And I got
So he
red
just
flag.
told you big. I've heard that before. So that's a true story. He looked at you and said, "Our match in Montreal, big boot, jackknife, 1, 2, 3, right to your
Yeah,
face."
yeah.
And he was being 100% serious.
Yeah, oh, dead serious, with a lot of attitude too, a lot of attitude, like, So when that day came and Tony Garea showed up at 4 p.m. in the afternoon and he goes, yeah, we need a good 12, 15, big boot, jackknife, calf over, 1, 2, 3. My head went crazy because, I heard that before. And when I heard that, and then I was traveling with Sid back then, and I said, Sid, have you ever heard someone telling you the finish of a house show like 2 months in advance? And when you get there, that's exactly what it is, And he said, no, I never heard that. And I said, and I got worked out, my brain kept, thinking, and I was not mad about, I didn't want to disrespect Vince or anything like that. I just want to stand up for myself, saying like, fuck, I'm not a fucking piece of shit where, you're gonna come to me like 2 months ahead of time and just tell me you're fucking finished. Just keep it for yourself and just tell me the same day. I don't care. I would have done it. It's just the fact that you're making a big deal out of it. And you're playing like you're so tough and you're so cool. And so I totally lost it that night. I said no, impossible. If that's going to happen, I don't give a shit. I'm packing my bag and going home. You got no main event tonight. No main event. Just change your card because I'm going home.
And this was a show that was probably promoted a lot locally because you're a local guy, and they had this set up for a long time. And you're telling them, all right, well, if this is the way it's going to go down, I'm just going to leave. So you got to figure some shit out.
Yeah, just to stand up to Kevin, and Sean, not to Vince. Nothing against Vince, nothing against not wanted to be business, or nothing against the agents, or nothing against the other boys. Like, I know maybe some guys like Taker, or the other guys that were there, they didn't really understand the whole thing because they weren't there day one, so they just thought out of the blue I didn't want to jump for the champ. But it was just a long story, It started with Sean the year before. It's almost a 2-year work in progress story. Like nobody could understand except me and Kevin and Sean. So I stood up, like we went in the ring and it was sold out at the curtain. Like every boys like wanted Nash to kick my ass, and nothing happened. Like it was a stiff match, every shots were hard, but if he hits me hard, like I hit him hard back, I just give me potato, give him potato back, like it's just like back and forth, just being a tough match, all the way, because we fought back all the way to the dressing room, and the closer we're getting to the dressing room, the harder the shots were coming, but it was both ways. But now it's like behind me because I saw Kevin like Thursday in Michigan, and I don't want to hear any shit about that. It's a long story. It's a long time ago. It's like almost 20 years ago. So now I think he's one of my good friends. I like to think that he's one of my good friends, and he helped me out a lot, gave me a lot of advice, for the business. And I had great conversation with him. We went out together a few times. We worked together a few more times after that. He did put me over, like in Montreal after that in 2009. And it kind of stopped all the, the bad shoot interview, like trashing each other. He stopped doing that, and I stopped doing it. And actually, if if one day I would be like intronized on the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, I would like Nash to be my the guy who presents me or do the speech for me or whatever. That's all.
Well, that's great. Looking back on it now with those mature eyes. I mean, from you looking back and seeing that maybe Jacques filled your head up with some stuff, or you looking back and seeing that you may have reacted the wrong way. It sounds like, you see things a little differently now, but at the time, the story goes that after this Montreal incident, you were pretty much buried and it led to you being released. Is that accurate or is that not accurate?
Well, if you read the Shawn Michaels book, which I did, they wanted to let go a lot of people. It was just before the Attitude Era, and they wanted to change the identity of the company, the way the company was going to run things now. And they wanted to get rid of a lot of characters like the Clown and Duke the Dumpster Josie, and then all the things that...
And the Pirate.
And the Pirate, Vince, let me take care of the Pirate. I will handle him. It's like we're not going to get rid of him. Vince really took my side big time on that, and big time, because what happened, Vince liked me so much that after I refused to do the job against Nash, I got fined for $2,000. I didn't get paid for that night, for that championship match. They had zero money out of it, which is okay with me. I deserved it. But right after that was a tour, a 3-week tour in Germany and England. And I was working PJ Polacco, Aldo Montoya, just incredible. And he was trying to make his way with the clique, He was carrying some bags, things like that. And I was going over every night. And that pissed them off so bad. I mean, every time we got back in the bus, that motherfucker doesn't want to put the fucking champ over, and he's been going over every fucking night against PJ. That I don't understand. They were so pissed off about me.
Who was the loudest in being pissed off about you at that time?
It was probably Kevin and Sean. And Razor, was kind of cool, Razor was Razor, he never, he probably spoke in my bag, but never, in my face. He was never, really bad to me, I always thought he was a cool guy, and we had, good matches, him and the kid against us, me against Razor, just before Jacques' retirement match, good little match, and he would always go like, that fucking motherfucker, that fucking Pirate, he can't go, man, he can't go, that fucking guy can't go, man, he was always putting me over. So the loudest guy were Kevin and Sean, they were the one who really hated me, the most in the clique.
So at this point, what I was going to say, what ended up leading to you then departing from WWE then?
Well, because after that meeting they got rid of a bunch of guys, and they tried to get rid of me, but Vince says, no, I'm going to handle him. And I didn't pass another test there, because after that meeting, I was doing a job every night, which was all right, but I didn't know any better. Triple H went through that when I did the curtain call, when the guys went to WCW and they all stood up together in the ring and things like that. And
so you thought maybe it was like a temporary punishment kind of thing?
Yeah, it was. I should have just done all my job, done all the pay-per-views, because I was still looking at a lot of pay-per-views. And then I turned down the Survivor Series. I didn't want to do it. And I started doing jobs, and I just said, okay, now I had an hernia. So I said, I'm going to get the surgery for the hernia. But the hernia was not hurting me, but it was something that I had to take care of eventually. So I figured, what a good time to take care of, health matters while everything's crumbling down around me. And it's like, everything seems to be pretty bad around, so I'm going to take some time off, and get healthy and then come back later on. Time rolled up, and Jacques called me back, and we went to WCW.
Did you have a phone call with Vince when you told him you were leaving?
No. No.
So you just showed up in WCW.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how it happened. I just sent a written notice that I was going to quit because I had like 4 months left on my contract. So I just sent like something written by a lawyer where, well, I was not to renew my contract with WWF, and that's it.
And do you look back at that decision? Do you regret that decision at all?
I think it would have been good just to do the bad times, just to go through the whole bad time, just do the job, and a little bit like Paul did, for a year in a row. Basically, he even got squashed in 12 seconds by Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania. Like, he just shut his mouth and just did it. So we can say whatever we want to say about Paul, but he did a lot of good things, in his favor,
When you look back on that WCW, the Amazing French Canadians, pretty much a lot of the similarities, besides the silly song. How do you look back on those years in WCW, just those 2 years, feuding with the Harlem Heat and actually wrestling Arn Anderson in his last match? How do you look back on that time in WCW?
Not in good shape, Dad. I'm not surprised that it was a bad run, It was, mainly it was my mistake, So I kind of cut myself there. I didn't help myself at all.
And how did you guys end up leaving WCW? How did that end?
Well, we did a full year. And then we did a show in Montreal, the show that Jacques had told Vince that he was going to do. So it was Jacques against Hulk and me against Giant. That's an Iron Man. The main was Jacques and Hulk. And when Hulk decided to put Jacques over between the middle of the ring, that pissed off Bischoff so bad. I mean, because it wasn't the highest popularity of the NWO. NWO was red hot, but it was a spot show. There was probably 15,000 people there. Me and Jacques were running the show with our own money and everything. We hired like WCW for like say 20 grand.
How much did it cost to get Hogan to do that show? Did you have to pay him individually to do this show? Yeah,
but with all the tickets that we sold, we broke even with the show. But the costs were high, like 20G for the WCW talent. Included like Sting, Jarrett, Harlem Heat, Koon, Barber, pretty much all the roster, Flair. They were all part of the 20G, and Hogan himself was 20 or 30G.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it was 20 US or 30 Canadian, but it was like up there.
Well,
that's crazy. And you had 15,000 people there and only broke even. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And the first 3 rows, they were $100 a tickets.
And
for the first 3 rows.
Your last match in WCW is another goddamn Montreal house show. Like, I'm surprised you ever wrestled another Montreal house show. Like, those things were bad luck for you. But it was actually a patch match, and then did that?
Oh yeah, that match. Yeah, the thing. Listen to this story, okay? We're having a fucking big press conference, okay? And Jacques, he's been busting my balls. Me and Hulk, it's all about me and Hulk, blah, 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 blah. So we're having a press conference at the Bell Center, or the Molson Center, and all the newspapers are there. And the Giant got up, and he shoved me, and I picked up a chair like, you're in my hometown, you're not going to push me around like a rag doll. So he's a Giant, so I just picked up a door, said, loosen up, big man, I'm going to fucking nail you with a chair. But I didn't hit him with a chair, I just picked up a chair. It happened that all the fucking newspaper, the cameraman, the photographs, they all took that picture, and it made the front page of all the papers, So the next morning, Jacques calling me, what the fuck, man, this was premeditated, like you, this is the biggest night of my career, you're stealing my front page. I said, man, how do you want me to steal your front page when I don't even know that they were going to take that picture? I just picked up a chair. And he was so pissed off that, oh man, it was unreal. It was unreal. Like my phone was ringing all day long. We had tapings in Orlando the next day. I didn't want to go. I was going to quit right there. I had enough of that bullshit, like, fuck that. So Jacques been there like since 11 in the morning or 10 in the morning. He's calling me every hour. At 11, I'm not flying in Orlando. At 12, I'm not. Like every hour, I'm not flying. I took the last flight. I don't know what time. It was probably 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I got there so late. Like he thought I was not gonna show up. We almost got into a fight there. Like all the boys were listening to the doors. And like I told him, man, I didn't do it. I didn't choose to be on the front page of the Gazette. The Gazette put that picture. I had nothing to do with it. If they didn't want to put you in all, I don't know why. I said to myself, no, I can't. No more. No more. Can't. And after that, I was in my own for a while. Actually, we re-signed with Vince in 98, 99 as the Quebecers. Because WCW was 96, 97.
Right.
And we resigned, and after 98, they kept me there for another year, and they let him go.
Yeah, they brought you in, and they hired you along with Jacques, and they didn't use you much, but they did have you participate in what's one of the most kind of infamous moments in that area, which is the Brawl for All. How was that presented to you? And thinking back on now, what a terrible, terrible idea that was, right?
Yeah. But for them, it was like Bruce Pritchard called me on the Monday before Brawl for All was starting. He says, man, Vince has a great idea for you. Pumped up. Yeah, what it is? Well, it's called Brawl for All, like it's going to be shoot fights. Oh, okay. Great idea. So, like it was going to be the gimmick of the century, But I wanted to show, okay, I stood up for Nash. I'm not gonna fucking, chicken up on this one. So at that time, I didn't even know it was a single leg down takeover or double leg takedown,
right.
takeover, takedown, or whatever. I had no clue about wrestling, amateur wrestling. So they put me against Dr. Dad, who was supposed to win the whole tournament. And they came in the dressing room. Hawk Extreme came to me, says, man, said, you're fighting one of the toughest guys in the world. The guy's going to win the whole thing. He's going to kill you out there. And I said, no, he's not going to kill me. He said, I'm going to protect you, man. He said, when he tagged you, you just take a dive, you take the 5G, you'll be all right. I said, Mike, you know what? Go back to your friend Steve. Tell him to fuck himself and tell him to keep the fucking $5 grand. I don't give a shit. I'm going to fight him as hard as I can. Fuck off. That's it.
So Steve, Dr. Death sent him to give you that message.
Yeah.
He was going to give you $5 grand, or you get $5 grand just for participating?
It was 5 anyway, so it was just get a good, shot, just take a good, it's going to hit you lightly, just take a dive and pick up the 5. No, he was not going to put 5 on his own. He was just going to say, take your 5 without getting hurt,
And that was Hawk who came to you and told you that?
Yeah, and I told Hawk to tell Steve to go fuck themselves. He's not going to do it. And everybody was afraid of Steve Williams, because he would put some show on. Like, he was a big bully, like he would take the young boy, the young new guys, at school or just extras, and he would slap them on the head, and he would fucking bang a head on the metal, locker rooms, where you put your clothes on, like you just banging his head like there, bang, 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 making holes in the plates there, just like showing like he's a tough dude, and everybody was scared around him. Even before, like, we went into the ring to fight, like, he came and he come started smashing some lockers, like metal lockers, like
Right.
boom, boom, like hitting them, trying to intimidate me, and I didn't budge, I didn't care. So, and looking at it, like, if I was going to be a little bit in a better shape, I'd probably be able to beat him, It was like, he was good, like, but he was not that good.
Did you guys talk afterwards or anything?
Well, we had to, because after that we were sent to the Dory Funk dojo in Stamford, Connecticut, and we had to do a match, and we had like to work together, and we did some house shows like on indies, like they were taped for Vince, and they put us together, and he says, I'm gonna take a huge big power bomb for you, and if I can lift about his ass 2 feet in the air.
But I meant that night. Did you guys talk that night after the fight? Like, did he say that you did a good job or anything?
What was that?
Like, did he after you guys fought that night in the brawl for all? Did he say like, he wasn't expecting you to be that good, or say that you did a good job or anything?
No, but he was always like acting like he was pissed at me. He hated me. He never liked me.
Let me ask you this. I'm fascinated by the Funkin' Dojo, the Dory Funk kind of before developmental system they had. Why would they send two people as experienced as you and Steve Williams down or up to the Funkin' Dojo?
They fucked a lot with Steve Williams. I don't know. I don't know. He was Jim Ross's boy, and I don't know why they fucked him so badly. I mean, he could have started any time, like he had a reputation of being a tough guy, and, his work was decent. He was working out of Japan, like main event match. He was working on Noah. He was working like he had to be at UWF, WCW. And they treated him like a rookie almost, I don't know why Vince did that to him. I think they wanted him to lose weight a little bit.
Do you think it hurt him a little bit to be JR's boy?
I don't know. I saw JR like 2 weeks ago. I forgot. I didn't ask him about that. But I don't know. I really don't know what was the story behind all that. I guess still until he died not too long ago, he couldn't understand himself. He felt like he got ribbed almost there, I think that's the way he felt. I mean, he hated the fact that he had to do like tryout matches and like 3 dojos with Dory and kind of stupid things like that.
A lot of times, a lot of us saw you for the last time until recently. Was you made an appearance as X, which was on TNA as part of the X division. I remember you coming in, you were press slamming guys and throwing them out of the ring, and you were really the first kind of bigger X division wrestler. It didn't last too long, though, right?
No, it didn't last long. I came in on a big push, and I just think it was financial, though, because living in Montreal and didn't want to move there. My flight were very expensive, and I was on a pretty good guarantee, too, for 1 show a week. And Dutch Mantel was the booker. I never had, like, great... because I didn't work for Dutch in Puerto Rico. Like, I've been to Puerto Rico a lot, but Dutch had his guys, Puerto Rican guys like Abyss, Jacob Eli Blue, the Iris Brothers, guys that he knew a lot, and I felt like I didn't feel like I didn't fit in what Dutch, and his boys, I was not part of this group, his group of guys that his core of guys, if I can explain myself better, I wasn't part of his plan. I was put there by Jeff Jarrett, but I don't think Jeff was like really involved that much with the booking. It was pretty much endowed to Scott D'Amour and Dutch Mantel. And I felt like I didn't have that many friends out there. and it was costing a lot of money to get there, because when the first time they got me there, it was like so crazy. I had to drive from Montreal all the way to Scott D'Amour, almost in Hamilton, Ontario, which was like 12-hour drive. And then we had to cross in Detroit by car. And then we had to take a southwest, from Detroit to Nashville. After that, they had me like on a straight flight from Montreal to Nashville. But my flight was so expensive.
So they drove you all the way to Detroit to cross.
Yeah, all the way from Montreal back. Yeah, Montreal to Nashville, back to Montreal, plus the pay. I just thought it was just a financial decision at the end of the deal. I mean, they didn't have much planned for me, and I was costing a lot of money to them. It didn't work out the way that I planned or they planned it.
And then so in 2011, you retired, and then you returned in 2016. What made you retire, and then what made you return?
I didn't really retire, but I just my chance for what I envisioned when I was a kid. Like, I wanted to be the next Hulk Hogan. I wanted to impact this business, as much as Steve Austin or The Rock or Hogan, or really help pop the business. From being at one stage where everything's like quiet and then everything goes wild. That's the vision I had. That's the desire I had. Like, I never was in the business for, I want to make a living, or, of course you want to make a living, but for me it was more like something where I wanted to realize a dream, and my dream was not to be part of WWE for 20 years. Like Brett was there for a long time, like Bob Holly was there for a long time. Like Taker's been there forever. It was never about that. It was always about, having a good impact run where, you really shake up the whole thing and, crank up the merch and the ratings and everything, like having something that really means something. That was what I was searching for all my life. And when they gave me that Lafitte character and I was undefeated for 8 months, I started to believe that might have been, the year that I was looking for, or the next 3 years that I was looking for. I started to think, maybe things are going to pop out eventually. You're saying to yourself, of course, it's been, 25 years of my life that I've been working on that. But just to answer to the question, it's like 2010, 2011. Now I'm kind of desperate. I'm still hoping for something to happen, but I think what's going to be the thing that's going to make that happen? And when the Dick Lick happened, it's when I met Destro, because legit, he had lost 168 pounds. He was a big fat guy. He was a strong man. He was doing like all kind of feats of strength, and to lose all this weight and to become as athletic as he became and ripped and shredded, and to almost become like a doctor and a specialist in training NHL players and all kind of guys that he brought to the top from the NHL, and to have him to decide to go with me, to train me. I figured that's the last strings that my desire, and when I was 14 years old, holds on. That's the last card that I can play, the last little string of my pair of shorts, last pair of shorts that I had bought 20 years ago that have a string hanging there that my dreams can be, attached to. I saw an opportunity there that I couldn't see before that. And those years that people think that I might have been retired, I was, very, very active. I was doing like jiu-jitsu, karate, gymnastics, and I was always like in super good shape. But I needed someone that would be able to bring my conditioning to the top level and a higher level. As a level as a top, 25, 20 years old guy that can do things like that are amazing. He had to do that with me at my age, but I could believe he would do it because himself being 60 years old and winning the Canadian championship arm wrestling in the 20-year-old and plus with 20-year-old guy in his weight division. I mean, that was something out of the ordinary. And I figured, like, if he can compete with 20-year-old in the arm wrestling field, I can do the same in the wrestling business. And all my workouts are based on what you need to do in a wrestling match. So it's all crazy workouts. It's not like doing bench press or shoulder press or push-ups or it's got nothing to do with that. It's just totally different workouts. It's insane workouts. It's something I'll do. It's only Destro can come up with. He's a genius. But the guy then, he did 4 Arnold Schwarzenegger classics where he did demos as a big man, as a strong man. Nobody, no Mark Henry, no Bill Kazmaier, no Ted Arcidi, no any Jean-Paul Sigmarsson or any strong man would go near what he was doing. Nobody would take the chance to lose faith at what he was doing, to lose face at what he was doing. So nobody would go near him because they were scared to look bad. So, and he played in a lot of movies. He had the easy camera face. He looks like a killer, looks like a fucking guy from, that could make like movies and things like that because he's been in a lot of movies. So at first he was just training me, and I said, there's something missing in your promos, and so I'm going to show you how to cut a deck of cards. I'll cut a deck of cards, and I'm going to reinforce your hands and your fingers and your tendon and your ligaments in your hands, and I'm going to have you have the super strong hands, and you'll be able to do things that you've never done before. So, doing all that, we started with little things, and then everything started to escalate to the Frankenstein character. That's it. That's how it happened.
So what is next for PCO? What stuff do you have coming up? What are with this new character you're doing? What are your goals? What do you think is going to happen in the next year or two?
Well, first Bola's coming up right around the corner. So they just advertised my first opponent, which is going to be Robbie King for the first night.
How amazing is it that you're in Bola? That's crazy, right?
Well, man, it's part of the dream, man. It's
right.
If I would have stopped dreaming, and if I would have really retired, you know what I mean? Like if I would really pull the plug on my dream, none of this would have happened. It's not luck. It's got nothing to do with that. Like how many times I was watching a movie like Cinderella Man, where you have like James J. Braddock, who's 44 years old. His family's totally broke. He's breaking a hand. He can't box. He loses license. People are throwing shit at him during his match because he's boring. And eventually, he's making a comeback. And then someone called Primo Carnera, who had killed 2 guys in the ring because he's such a hard hitter. He goes against Jay Braddock, and Braddock beats him in 15 rounds with a split decision and becomes a world champion. And I'm crying all the tears in my body because that's who I wanted to be since I was 14 years old, you know. And how many movies like that I can tell you that, you know, always made me think of my career. And I don't know if you're like that, Robbie. Sometimes I don't know what your goals are or what your goals were when you were young, but I always had high expectation and really big goals and really big dreams and a big desire. But I felt like it wasn't my ego that was like that. I felt like it was placed there when I was born, and it was placed there for one reason. It was to accomplish them. And I always felt like that. Like every Shawshank Redemption, you know, the guy goes in prison for killing his wife, and he never killed his wife. It was someone else. And he's, you know, for 20, 25 years, he was digging a little, you know, cement, you know, with a spoon, you know, in his room, in his cell. And eventually he escapes and he makes tons of money because, you know, he had screwed, you know, all the people that had tried to screw him over and things like that. And all those movies, it just feels like that now. It's like I'm living the Man's of Honor, you know, with Koon Jr., the first black man who could go, you know, in the sea and work for the Navy and do something and had a leg take off too, and then they fucked with his bag, you know, because they had tests to do and things like that, and then he always fought back, you know, eventually, you know, made it happen.
So you see it like a kind of like an underdog story, you know, and
big time.
It is. And one thing I read recently, did you turn down a contract with Impact because you really want to go for the...
Not a contract. And I want to be clear like that because I want new heat. Anyways, I've been talking with, because I'm on the road a lot, like 4 or 5 times a week sometimes. And I'm always with someone with TNAs on the road, like with me. And I just want to clear that out. It's not a contract that they offered me. It was 3 matches, 3 dates for 2 different TV tapings that I turned down because I felt first, the money wasn't what I'm making on the indie right now. And second, if a Sunday night I was in Texas and they wanted me to be in Toronto on the Monday, well, they wouldn't deal, you know, to play half of the flight with my other promoter. So I was not going to cancel bookings just to go to TNA. And to me, what I told them is just not, timing's not right now for TNA. Eventually, if timing is there, I'll be more willing than go and do it. But for them, I think they wanted to give me a good opportunity. But for me, it's more than that because, you know, I've been doing so many things with Destro, with the cable jumpers and the electricity and all that. Not having, you know, the whole character on TV, which you're supposed to be the second biggest, you know, company almost. But I worked last Thursday. I did the Battle Royale, 40-man Battle Royale for Major League Wrestling, and I had a match against Homicide with them. And I gotta tell you, they're so professional, so tight. The show was so well run.
It looked like it, yeah.
Bruce Pritchard is basically, you know, the guy who runs the show from behind the scenes, and you can tell it's almost advanced the show. You know, I've been there for so many years that I know when a show is so oiled and so organized that there's not even a second off between the music between each guys, and everybody's like 2-3 matches ahead of time. They're waiting in the stairs for their match, and there's no loose no let go, no we're on vacation, you know, it's business, 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 business. And I was impressed with the production. I was impressed with the wall, you know, with all the generics, you know, the intros and all that. And I was so impressed with the show. Basically, it was sold out in New York, and that was very impressive. And they used me the right way. I like the way they used me, so I never closed any door on TNA. But I'm just saying that the PCO Destro character is for sure, definitively, it's a WWE character. I mean, if you want to put money into something, that's the character that you can put money there, you know. And you don't have to put $1 million, you know. You don't have to flip the semi over ambulance buses and things like that to get it over, you know. You, with a minimum investment, but with a proper investment. I mean, with the buzz that's going on right now, I see it more as a WWE character than a TNA character. But I'm not closing any doors, and I'm not rude to anybody. I'm saying that in all humility, and I really appreciate the fact that TNA reached out to me, but they just offered me like a couple of matches, which Destro wasn't involved there. You know, it was not what I expected them to offer me. So I was a little bit disappointed the way, because you know, they didn't call me up for a meeting or anything like that.
Well, PCO, man, thank you very much for coming on, telling us your story, filling us in on everything. If promoters want to book you, how could they do that? If you want to drop your Twitter, your Instagram, all your social media stuff, any information you want to give?
Drop the Twitter. With Twitter, you get access to Facebook, you get access to Instagram, you get access to my email, you get access to all the way that you want to use it for podcasts or bookings or anything else. So at Quebecer with a Quebecer PCO, basically. If you type PCO, I'm pretty sure everything's going to pop out. But at Quebecer PCO, and then you just follow me there on Twitter, and from Twitter you're going to have access to all the other platforms. And Twitter is my favorite platforms of all of the social media. So I'm really a big Twitter fan. I tweet a lot. I interact with all of the fans that are on my Twitter, and basically, you know, that's what it is. You know, the PCO Destro story, it's just the tip of the iceberg, you know, that's coming out of the sea right now. And there's so many more things coming up, you know. I don't know if you saw the last video Monday.
Oh yeah. The car battery.
The car battery was the second. It's to be continued next week, but in the meantime, you know, we can go in so many directions with that. It doesn't have to be, you know, so crazy like that. We can go other direction, and that's what's fun about that character, the character. So we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna see how everything evolves. But I'm very, very, very positive about the future of this thing, and I want to thank all the fans, you know, for being so responsive and being so crazy about it, you know. Like every time I go to New York, Chicago, or anywhere else, nowhere, not Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, wherever, you know, it's always a big PCO chance. It's just been an unbelievable ride. It's the best ride of my career. It's been my best run ever, you know. Count WWE, WCW, count every feds, you know. This run is my best run ever.
Well, absolutely.
It's my most fun too.
And you know, it's great that you're thanking the fans, but we want to thank you for being with us here today and giving us so much time and so much information.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Robbie. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for everything. Thanks to all the fans, and we'll cross somewhere, down the road, and we'll talk to each other again.
For sure.
Well, I guess the show is called Why It Ended, Robbie, and it did end, but man, that PCO shit is everywhere now, and I think we got a little insight into why he's working so hard now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't just end. It ended on numerous occasions. But for him, at 51 years old, I think he is, it's why has it restarted? Because this dude really is. I mean, he feuded with Bret Hart, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, and now he is in LA, headed to LA for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla in the Bola tournament. Like, come on, dude. How does that happen?
It's kind of insane if you think about it, because he sounds like a changed dude now. Like, that maturity that comes, where he's friends with Kevin Nash now. But like, he's been fired more times than Marty Jannetty. I mean, he went through a lot of different runs, right?
Yeah, between the WCW and back to WCW and WWFs and WWEs and TNAs. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that he said. I lost track, but there was a lot. But either way, I mean, dude, he is a super talented dude, a super nice guy. And I even remember in 2008, he said the year was when me and him met at Mohegan Sun. He was a super nice guy, helping the younger guys and everything. So he's always had a good attitude. I think a lot of people probably just read him the wrong way.
Yeah, but he seems to be on fire now. He's doing things the right way, and he's really making a name for himself out there. It is crazy that the biggest comeback story of the year in 2018 is PCO.
Yep, and it is even crazier that Why It Ended is one of the hottest podcasts on the planet, which is why you got to follow us on Twitter at Why It Ended, follow us on Instagram at Why It Ended, help us out on our Patreon page, which we much appreciate. We're going to get caught up on YouTube, WhyItEnded.com, and then you got to get our shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees.
I got to say, Robbie, that was the best segue I've ever heard you do. Like, usually your segues are like, so hey, let me ask you this. But
I mean, I'm from Jersey.
That was fantastic. And of course, I'm Matt Koon at Matt Koon Music. Robbie, what are you up to this weekend?
This weekend, you can catch me for AFCW in Palmerston, Pennsylvania, where I'll be teaching a seminar in the morning and then a wrestling show in the afternoon.
Well, there you go. And if you want to catch me, you can find me on my couch in Virginia. And once again, tune in.
Matt, I don't think anyone wants to see you on your couch in Virginia. That's probably a scary sight.
It is frighteningly. It is frightening. That's all I'm going to say about that. But what's not frightening is Why It Ended, and we'll see you here next week on Why It Ended.